Did you know the Crusades weren't just holy wars, but a chaotic clash of greed, faith, and betrayal that reshaped the world? What if I told you the knights we romanticize as heroes were sometimes driven by motives darker than devotion? And here's the kicker. Some of the biggest secrets of these medieval wars were buried for centuries, only to be uncovered in dusty manuscripts and forgotten ruins. Stick with me, because today we're diving into the hidden truths of the Crusades, stories so wild they'll make you question everything you thought you knew about medieval history. From shocking betrayals to unexpected alliances, you're about to see the Crusades like never before. Let's unravel these mysteries together. Imagine standing on the sun-scorched walls of Jerusalem in 1099, the air thick with dust and the clash of steel. The First Crusade is at its peak, and knights from across Europe have fought for years to reach this moment. But here's where it gets messy. Why were these warriors really here? Sure, the church promised salvation, but many were chasing land, wealth, or a chance to escape their debts back home. The Crusades, spanning nearly 2 centuries, weren't just about faith. They were a melting pot of ambition and desperation. I've spent years digging into medieval texts, and what I found will blow your mind. Let's start with the First Crusade, the one that set the stage for everything. What do you think drove these knights more, faith or fortune? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, because this one's a game changer. The First Crusade kicked off in 1095, when Pope Urban II called for Christians to reclaim the Holy Land. His speech at Clermont was like a spark in a powder keg. Thousands signed up, from nobles to peasants. But here's the twist. Urban wasn't just preaching salvation. He saw a chance to unite a fractured Europe under the Church's banner. The Byzantine Empire, reeling from Turkish invasions, was begging for help, and Urban seized the moment. The result? A ragtag army of zealots, mercenaries, and dreamers marching east. By 1099, they'd captured Jerusalem, but the victory was brutal. Chronicles describe streets running red, and while I won't dwell on the gore, YouTube's got rules, the scale of it shocked even medieval writers. What's wilder is who led this charge. Ever heard of Bohemond of Taranto? This Norman warlord wasn't exactly a saint. He joined the crusade for glory and a shot at carving out his own kingdom. Spoiler. He got it, but not without some shady moves. Want to know the sneakiest thing he did? Keep watching, and let me know in the comments which crusade leader you think was the most cunning. Bohemond's story takes us to Antioch, a key city during the First Crusade. The Crusaders were starving, outnumbered, and on the brink of collapse. Enter Bohemond with a plan so bold it sounds like a Hollywood script. He bribed a guard to open Antioch's gates, sneaking his army inside under cover of night. Victory, right? Not so fast. The next day, a massive Muslim army showed up, trapping the Crusaders inside. Things looked grim until a monk claimed to find the Holy Lance, a relic said to have pierced Jesus' side. Whether it was real or not, it rallied the troops, and they pulled off a miracle win. Here's where it gets juicy. Bohemond didn't share the glory. He declared himself ruler of Antioch, sidelining his allies. This wasn't teamwork. It was a power grab. Does this make Bohemond a genius or a backstabber? Drop your take below, because I'm dying to hear what you think about this medieval plot twist. Now let's shift gears to the Second Crusade, because if the first was a messy success, this one was a spectacular flop. Launched in 1147, it aimed to recapture lost territories after Muslims took Edessa. Europe's biggest names signed up: King Louis VII of France, Emperor Conrad III of Germany, but it all fell apart. Why? Poor planning, and even poorer trust. The Crusaders split up, got ambushed, and never even reached their target. Here's a crazy detail. Louis's wife, Eleanor of Aquitaine, tagged along, and rumors swirled about her flirting with her uncle, Raymond of Antioch. Scandal aside, the real issue was the Crusaders' arrogance. They underestimated their enemies and overestimated their own unity. It's like a medieval version of a team project gone wrong. Ever been part of a group effort that crashed and burned? Share your story in the comments. I bet it's not as bad as this. The Second Crusade's failure set the stage for a bigger showdown. Enter Saladin, the Muslim leader who'd become a legend. By the 1180s, he'd united much of the Muslim world, and in 1187 he crushed the Crusaders at the Battle of Hattin. This wasn't just a defeat, it was a wake-up call. Jerusalem fell and Europe was stunned. Saladin wasn't just a warrior, he was a master strategist who treated captives with surprising mercy, earning respect even from his enemies. But here's a question. Was Saladin the hero of this story or just another conqueror? His victory sparked the Third Crusade, and trust me, this one's packed with drama. What do you think made Saladin so unstoppable? Hit the comments with your thoughts because this guy's story is unreal. The Third Crusade, starting in 1189, is the one everyone knows thanks to Richard the Lionheart. This English king was a rock star of his time, brave, charismatic, and a bit reckless. He faced off against Saladin, and their rivalry was like a medieval chess match. Richard won key battles like the Siege of Acre, but he never took Jerusalem. Why? Partly because his allies, like King Philip II of France, bailed early. Plus, Richard had drama back home. His brother John was plotting to steal the throne. Here's a fun fact. Richard and Saladin never met face to face, but they sent each other gifts as a sign of respect. Imagine two warlords exchanging presents while their armies clash. It's moments like these that make the Crusades so fascinating. Who do you think won this rivalry, Richard or Saladin? Drop your vote in the comments because I'm curious to see where you stand. Let's zoom out for a second. The Crusades weren't just about battles. They reshaped Europe and the Middle East. Trade boomed as Crusaders brought back spices, silks, and ideas. Cities like Venice got filthy rich, and new technologies like better shipbuilding spread fast. But there was a dark side. The Crusades fueled mistrust between Christians and Muslims, echoes of which linger today. They also weren't cheap. Kings taxed their people heavily, and peasants often paid the price. Here's something to chew on. Some historians argue the Crusades were a net positive for Europe's economy, while others say they caused more harm than good. What's your take? Should we see the Crusades as a catalyst for progress or a costly disaster? Share your thoughts below. I'd love to see the debate. Now, let's dive into a lesser-known chapter, the Fourth Crusade. If you thought the others were wild, this one's a whole new level of chaos. Launched in 1202, it was supposed to retake Jerusalem. Instead, the Crusaders ended up sacking Constantinople, a Christian city. How did this happen? It started with money troubles. The Crusaders hired Venetian ships but couldn't pay, so Venice's Doge redirected them to attack a rival city, Zara. From there, things spiraled. A Byzantine prince promised riches if they helped him seize the throne, but when he couldn't deliver, the Crusaders looted Constantinople instead. This wasn't a holy war, it was a heist. The fallout? A weakened Byzantine Empire and a fractured Christian world. What's the most shocking part of this story for you? Hit the comments because I'm betting this one's got you shook. The Fourth Crusade's betrayal wasn't the end. Later crusades like the Fifth and Sixth tried to reclaim the Holy Land, but they lacked the fire of the earlier ones. By the 13th century, the crusading spirit was fading. Kings were more focused on their own lands, and the church's call to arms didn't pack the same punch. But here's a cool tidbit. The Crusades inspired stories that still captivate us. The legend of the Holy Grail. It gained traction during this era, blending faith and adventure. Even today, movies and games draw on Crusader lore. Ever wondered, How these medieval tales shape modern pop culture. Drop your favorite Crusades-inspired movie or game in the comments. I'm all ears. Let's talk about the people who lived through this. Knights get all the glory, but what about the peasants? Merchants and women who tagged along. Life on a crusade was brutal. Disease, starvation, and long marches were common. Women, from nobles like Eleanor to camp followers, played bigger roles than you'd think. Some fought, others nursed the wounded. Merchants, meanwhile, saw opportunity, selling supplies or banking on trade routes. Here's a wild story. During the Third Crusade, a group of English women dressed as men to join the fight. Talk about courage. What do you think it was like for ordinary people in the Crusades? Share your thoughts below, because their stories deserve to be heard. Another angle we can't ignore is the cultural exchange. The Crusades weren't just about conflict, they were a crossroads of ideas. Europeans learned about Arabic medicine, math, and astronomy, which helped spark the Renaissance. Muslims in turn adopted European military tactics. It's ironic, these wars of division also brought people together. For example, the Arabic numeral system, which we use today, spread to Europe during this period. Mind-blowing, right? What's another modern thing you think might trace back to the Crusades? Toss your ideas in the comments. I'm curious to see what you come up with. As we wrap up, let's reflect on the Crusades' legacy. They were a mix of faith, greed, heroism, and betrayal, shaping the medieval world and beyond. From Bohemond's cunning to Saladin's brilliance, these stories remind us that history isn't just facts. It's people making choices, for better or worse. The Crusades left scars, but also bridges, connecting cultures in ways no one expected. So what's the biggest takeaway for you? Was it the betrayals, the battles, or the unexpected connections? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because I want to keep this conversation going. Before you go, here's a quick tease. Our next video is diving into why medieval castles were practically unbreakable. We're talking moats, murder holes, and some genius engineering that'll blow your mind. Hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss it. And hey, if you loved this deep dive into the Crusades, give this video a thumbs up and share it with a friend who's into history. Your support keeps this channel going, and I can't wait to explore more medieval mysteries with you. See you in the next one.